You saying ready? Yep. Cool. Alright man, let's get it.
Isaiah, you made this?
My name is James Redon Mulholland, but I go by James Estella. That's my Filipino name. I just use that name for short, so it's easier to understand. Right now we're here in the Filipino house. I got Jeremiah with me, Shout and Vision, and pretty much we're just here to talk about my story. Obviously, as you can see from the title, I play basketball with a heart condition and I got diagnosed in 2019. So we're just gonna take you through pretty much like the beginning and how we got here, my journey into like playing basketball. I apologize, I'm not trying to ramble on the whole video, but in order for you to like get to know me and to understand the story, we gotta start from the very beginning. So pretty much I grew up in Camden, went to St. Aloysius Primary School, and everybody that went to that primary school played football. We all played for Somers Town. If you're in the Camden area or is in area, everyone knows Somers Town is like a powerhouse for kids that play football. So played football there, was very good, even played for Camden District. We got to year 7 and everyone that goes Aloysius Primary, they all go Aloysius Secondary, even though it is quite far. We get to Aloysius Secondary and halfway through year 7, I begin to make the switch into playing basketball. Naturally so, I always took a liking for it because I used to play basketball as a kid in the Philippines growing up. All my uncles playing, just me watching them. So I always had a second liking to it other than football. But anyways, made the complete switch halfway through year 7, and just from that moment on I just completely fell in love with basketball. Like, I couldn't explain it. Like, it was Monday to Sunday, 24/7, twice a day, 3 times a day sometimes. But yeah, so going to Aloysius, I got very, very lucky because Aloysius was on its way to becoming a powerhouse for basketball, and we was actually linked up. Aloysius was linked up with Islington Panthers Basketball Club, which is one of the very few basketball clubs in North London. So speaking about my journey playing with Panthers and Aloysius, it was amazing. It was very, very good. I got off to a great start. If we're talking about like my early years in basketball, from year 7 to about year 10, I had a very, 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 very successful 4 years being introduced into basketball and trying to make a name out there at a young age. I was very advanced in terms of like my skill set. So from year 7 to year 10, it didn't feel like a challenge. I was playing like 2 years up. But when I played my own age group, it was very, very easy for me. And yeah, man, like, it was very, very smooth. From about year 11 onwards, I began to see like the skill gap close, and those that were getting stronger, taller, naturally they started to arise in my age group, so it began to get a bit more difficult for me. Now, from the age of 15, I began to develop some serious back pain, like mid-back, upper back. Like it happened all the time after playing basketball, but I'd like play through it. So it kind of hindered my progression and development as I got into like year 11, first year sixth form and second year sixth form. Because of this, like it prevented me from like really training really hard, and instead of doing 2 sessions like I was growing up, I began only doing 1, etc., etc. But overall, to summarize, I felt like I had a great upbringing and a great few years playing basketball in the UK, from year 7 to under 18s, from 12 to under 18s. It was very successful. I had some good moments, a lot of bad moments. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get a chip with Islington Panthers, but made a couple Final Fours appearances with Aloysius in London and England basketball for different age groups. So overall, it was great. So now at this point, I'm in second year college, and I've just finished up my year of under 18s. I've actually failed my A-levels first year sixth form, so I'm now going into my last year of Aloysius. So I did 3 years at Aloysius. So I'm in my 3rd year for sixth form, and now we have no team. It's just me and one of my teammates, Dre. Shout out to Dre. We're just in the gym the whole year with my coach at the time. And during this process, all I was doing was keeping my head down, just trying to prepare myself to go university, as the main aspiration, the main goal, the main end goal was playing professional basketball, no matter the level or how far that was. That was the main goal, was trying to become a pro. And my main focus was trying to prepare to go university, as I wasn't ready. In no shape or form was I ready to go straight out of college and become a pro. I had so many things to develop on. I had to work on my physical side, as that was my biggest weakness. I had to work on my physical side. I had to get more athletic, stronger. And as a basketball player, I also changed my jump shot. I went from shooting from my chest to shooting over my head. So I needed to get more reps in with that. Overall, I just needed more time to just develop. Even as a man too, I was still not immature, but I hadn't been as mature as I am right now. So I end up basically like locking myself away, going to these 7 a.m. sessions with my coach, just really trying to focus and prepare to go university. Now, I managed to get into the university that I wanted to, which was Solent. I even got my accommodation. Now, if you know about Solent University, you know it's one of the powerhouses in the UK for basketball universities. And yeah, this is when the story just goes upside down right here. So this is what we came here to talk about. So pretty much my father's brother, my uncle, before I was born, he passed away from a heart attack when he was only 13 years old. He was just playing in the living room with my dad, and after playing around for a little bit, he just lay down on a couch and just never woke up. And my dad had to witness that at 10 years old. Now, because of this, as a kid growing up, just to be safe, my dad made sure that we always got tested and we always had like regular checkups, even if it was like every 5 years. Now, before 2019, this happened early 2019, around April. Before this appointment, I actually had a checkup in 2016, and the doctors basically said everything was good, everything was smooth, but we're just gonna monitor it. So they basically ran some tests in 2019 April. I thought I was gonna go in and out of St. Bart's Hospital, in and out, quick checkup, and I'm out of there. But they basically said to me, we found the issue and we want to take more tests. So at that point, they basically said, we don't want you exercising more than 3 times a week. We want to run some specific tests. After about a month, 2 months, we're going to redo the tests. And in that time frame, we're going to do a bunch of different tests, from ECGs, scans, blood tests. I did at least 7 different tests. I can't tell you every single name of all of them, but I did at least 7 different tests. So coming up to the interview now, the day finally comes, and in the back of my mind, my worry is, they're going to tell me potentially I can't be a basketball player, but I'm not thinking too heavily on it. Long story short, we end up getting into the room, and I actually snuck my phone in and put place record, just because I wanted to hear what they say. Sometimes when you go into a doctor's appointment, everything comes at you so fast, you don't even remember what they say. So I looked at it like, I want to be able to get this on recording, plus I can show like my family members that I'm good, etc, etc. So I've gone in, press record, doctor doesn't know I'm recording, and long story short, they basically say that I won't be able to pursue a professional career in basketball. So at that moment, I just started crying, like I was completely upset, because I'd done all that work leading up to going to university, and everybody that plays basketball, like all they think about is like playing at university level. And basically, long story short, it basically just cut my dreams. And what the doctor basically said was, we're not 100% sure if it has like been passed down in my genes. The name of my condition is dilated cardiac myopathy, and at that moment when they diagnosed it, it was mild. So I was just asking them many questions like, why can't I play? Why can't I play? As you're going to see in these videos and these pictures, you'll see they basically said, on one side of my heart, I'm pumping like 3% less. And I said to the doctor, even though it's only 3% difference, he basically said, that's enough to tell us that there's something there.
But I fear that being a pro is probably off the cards.
Just because of that 3%?
Well, because it's very, very mild, but it's undoubtedly there.
And their advice to me was pretty much, we don't want you to pursue that career. We don't want you to do an Ironman challenge. So, like CrossFit, those extreme sports where you're doing swimming, pull-ups, weightlifting, all in one. So they told me stay away from that. And then their advice was, don't be a couch potato. Literally. So it was it was a very tough time for me, because it's like, they didn't know who they were speaking to. They didn't know I wasn't just a regular kid. I had very big aspirations, and they didn't know that I had been training and grinding for that long, just for them to turn around and tell me, don't be a couch potato, you have a heart condition. That's it. So at 19, to hear that, that's not something you're trying to hear. But yeah, unfortunately, I had to go through that. Now, I don't blame them for being able to only get that advice, because at the end of the day, the NHS, they see like millions of people on a day-to-day, and as a doctor you're just trying to get people in and out. But I just feel like the way they go about things is a bit wrong. They don't get to know the person or anything like that. They don't offer no advice about having no sugar, sleeping correctly, which we'll go into detail on another video in the future. But yeah, we'll move on. So at this moment, like, my whole world is just crashing down.
Are there any other questions I can help you with?
Is there any way I can like see a psychologist?
Actually, probably yes. So not directly through us, but there is a very good charity called Cardiomyopathy UK. Just look up the website. And I think they definitely have support, and they're well aware of all this and exactly what it entails and the implications. So they'd be the right people.
At this moment, truthfully, I didn't feel like there was a lot of people that was like around for me at this time. I literally just went home, was just absolutely emotional, like I was done. And thankfully, I don't need too many people anyway, but I had very, very close friends that I was able to call. Shout out to Chem being one of them. He was the first person I called, one of the nicest guys that I know. Now, I was able to call him and he was able to give me like as much support as he could. And thankfully for me, I pretty much, I don't want to say found, but I always had a second passion for being in the gym and basically becoming a personal trainer, and I loved helping others, even though I was trying to improve my physical side myself. So after about a week, I knew straight away, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do bodybuilding, you're going to become a personal trainer, and we're going to start YouTube. We're going to get into that immediately. So I moved on as soon as possible. Didn't have no time to waste and just cry about things. I moved on. So I got on a personal trainer course, and I basically just, I aced it, literally. Managed to get it done in under 2 months. And as soon as I completed it, the worst possible thing could have happened. Lockdown hit. So lockdown hits, and now it's COVID, everyone can't leave the house. And that pretty much would have been the worst thing that could have ever happened to me, because what then happened in these next 2 years was I went through a serious depression, in the sense of basketball got took away from me. Now I wasn't able to go to the gym, work out, other than do home workouts at home. I actually began to develop like heart symptoms, like issues with my heart for the first time, like on a consistent basis. All I was doing on a day-to-day was playing Call of Duty 24/7. I kind of low-key did become a bum. I also, on a separate topic, I also had one or two incidents in my area where it was kind of like mistaken identity, and I got fucked up. So mentally, we'll speak about that another time, but mentally, I was dealing with incredible amount of anxiety. I was scared to leave the house. I don't think I did any shopping for my mum for like 2 years. So all these things weighing down on me, on top of feeling like the heart pain on a more consistent basis now, because I wasn't exercising. I was getting unfit really quick. I actually lost about 15 kg, became very, very pale. I don't think I had a haircut or trim in like 2 years. So yeah, basically, to summarize, lockdown was absolutely horrible for me. Like to the point where it's like I was, without getting into too much like DLs, but like if you even look outside, like there was little thoughts in my head of like, even just like, what if like I was to just jump out that balcony right there. Jeremiah, if you just show it a little bit, don't don't get too much. I don't want to be out where I live, but pretty much, yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't be lying. I'd be lying if I said there wasn't thoughts of even me just jumping off that. Like, the depression I hit was incredible. On top of that, like, there was times where I would even write down in a journal, like in one of my books, like, I love you to like my family members, just in case like I wasn't able to like make it to see another day, because I genuinely believed at that moment, especially experiencing so many different symptoms with my heart, that I didn't know if I'd be living to see the next month or the next 6 months. In terms of the symptoms, there's so many different types of symptoms. Some of them might have been like constant heart pain. Some of them might be pain where I breathe in, like it comes and goes. Some might be feeling breathless. Some might feel like a sharp pain. Some might feel, I can't explain it, but it's like electrical. I can't like a bad one. There's been times where I've woke up feeling like something's gonna happen. Like I felt like a massive pain in my heart, and I just woke up at like 6 a.m. in the morning. I've experienced so many different symptoms, and how negative I used to think, and the negative impact it had on my mind was so bad, to the point where that if anything good happened in my life, for example, I was playing Call of Duty a lot, right? And I was playing Verdansk, Warzone. Everybody was playing that game. I remember getting 30 kills on that game one time, and that's a very big deal. If you know Call of Duty, you play Verdansk, you know getting 30 kills is a big deal. And I just thought, damn, did I get that because the next day I'm not going to be alive? Or like, just think about how negative this is. Yeah, I support Chelsea. As you can see, I support Chelsea. Where's the badge? Right here. So I support Chelsea, and the biggest trophy you can win for a football club is the Champions League. I was in this living room with Jesse, Callum, shout out to them two, my closest friends, and we were celebrating the Champions League. And in the back of my mind, what was I thinking? Yes, I was happy that like we won, but I was like genuinely, is that how you say genuinely? My girl's been getting on me about that. I was genuinely believing that's the last time I'm going to see my club lift a trophy. Like, we won. Like, I was thinking in my head, we won, and because we won, that's a good way to go out and good way to like pass away off a Champions League, celebrating with your friends. Like, the thoughts were so negative. It was, I don't want my team to win the Champions League because that means I ain't gonna be alive. And if Man City win, do you know what I mean? Like, that's how negative it was, to the point where, that's just one example. And do you know how insane that is? If you're a true football fan, like, imagine that's one of the best days of your life, and you're having negative thoughts about anytime something good happens to you, you think, is this the last time? So yeah, that's how negative those 2 years were for me in lockdown. So moving on, lockdown finally lifts and things get back to normal, and I basically just move on with my life, and I get on with bodybuilding. And thankfully, as like time goes on, I begin to get myself back on my feet. I actually ended up putting on some decent amount of size for bodybuilding. Started doing a bit more content for Instagram and TikTok with like bodybuilding and calisthenics, so life was a lot more smoother. And in terms of symptoms, it wasn't as intense as it was during lockdown. I actually even began to like scrimmage at least once a week or once a month, so I was getting my fitness back. So I was definitely getting a bit more healthy, and pretty much I believe it was 2023 summer, and I'd gone back to Panthers, and I was training with all like my friends growing up. Some of them that are younger than me might have been playing high level in America, or like low level, mid level, like competitively in England basketball, so like D2, D3 or whatever, so D1. And in that time frame, I was just there getting content, there for vibes, but I was noticing that like I was able to keep up to the point where them thoughts began to creep in, like, why don't I just play basketball again? Why don't I play 5-on-5? And those scrimmages were going so well to the point where I genuinely just thought about playing basketball over again, and basically going behind the doctor's back, going behind like my family's back, and trying to pursue it all over again. So for the next, basically that entire summer, I was very, very conflicted on, should I like let the dream go, because I have let it go now. At that moment, I stopped in 2019, so it'd probably been about 4 years. Do I just let it go, or do I just take that risk because I love basketball so much? But obviously, bear in mind that the doctor, they've said to me, like, they looked me in my eye, like, yeah, you could drop dead, like, from just playing at any given moment. So I was very, very aware of the risk of like coming back to basketball. Now, I was very conflicted. I remember speaking to my great grandma. Is it my great grandma? My mum's auntie. She lives in Hawaii. She was basically telling me, her advice to me was like, God will reveal what the answer is going to be. And naturally, I just kept swaying towards basketball. I didn't want to do bodybuilding. Me lifting a PR, doing a PR on a deadlift didn't give me the same joy as playing basketball. Now, during those years of me not playing, like, I'd have sleepless nights thinking about bad games that I had from under 18s and under 16s. Like, it'd still eat me alive, and it's like, why am I feeling this way? I used to question myself, but it's just, I genuinely just love basketball so much that like, even though I stayed away from it from like 4 years and stayed away from those friends in basketball, they still managed to reel me back in. So yeah, we got to the point where it was, I believe, August, and I said to myself, I said, you know what, like, life's too short, and I don't want to have no regrets when I'm 40, 50 about, damn, I never at least tried, just because a doctor told me something when I was 19, even though I feel good. So I just said, you know what, this is what we're going to do. We're going to lock in. We're going to spend less time on social media. And I've written a contract to myself, which you're going to see. You're going to see this contract, and it says, it's a contract to myself stating that I'm going to pursue a professional career in basketball. And in the contract, you see no social media, no girlfriend, don't speak to like no females, anything like that. Obviously, having a girlfriend, I ended up having a girlfriend like 3 months after that, so that's probably the only thing that I actually broke. But for the most part, I was very locked in. I signed that contract to myself, and I knew the risk. I knew everything that was involved with playing. Pretty much, we ended up getting into a season for Panthers, my first season back, and I played Division 3. Now, overall, I completely loved the season. I had some of the best moments in my life last season. I felt good personally. I was kind of like monitoring myself on a day-to-day. I got all my joy back from training. I felt a lot of nostalgia as I grew up there, and I was around like my coach and my teammates that I wasn't with for years. There was a lot of returnees. Even in practice, like, practice was amazing. It was very intense. We also was consistently training with the young fellas who ended up winning a chip, like Tyrese, Devontae, all those young guys. So it was a very great season. There was some negative moments like creeping in the back of my mind at times where we'd be running 17s in practice. So I said 17s because most people know about 17s when you're running sideline to sideline. But at Panthers, we do 16 in 60 seconds, and we do about 5 sets. There was negative thoughts creeping in my mind because when you're pushing yourself to that extent, you're thinking, like, how much can like my heart take? And I don't know if this is just me training hard, or if I push myself too much, like what could happen. But other than that, for the most part, when I got on the court, I forgot about everything, thankfully, and it was my kind of like my place to escape. So I'm grateful that that didn't like negatively impact me playing games. The one thing I will say is from that season is I did feel like I was capped to how fit that I could be, just off the fact that I just felt like a lot more tired, and I tire quicker than others. But other than that, everything was smooth. We managed to get to the playoffs. Unfortunately, we got knocked out the first round against Loughborough. And after that, the main goal now was to continue to develop, potentially play Division 2, maybe even Division 1, maybe even running back Division 3. But I wasn't ready to become a pro. I still needed more years and more time. Now, I actually went to Philippines, and the goal was to play professionally in Philippines. The goal was I want to play in the PBA. I'm half Filipino, I have a passport. That's the main goal. And we actually went out in August, and yes, I spent time with the family. I had like the holiday stuff, but for me, that trip that I spent a month out in Philippines wasn't for only it being fun and it being a holiday. Like, I was out there really trying to make moves, really trying to make connections, looking at accommodations. And I want to give a special shout out to Banj, Mr. Move with a Purpose, because thankfully for him, he helped me with everything from multiple different trainers, giving me constant advice on where to go. And because of him, he opened other doors, and I met even more new people, and I was able to build as many connections as I did. Even one of them being modeling. So yeah, overall it was a very successful Philippines trip, to the point where I had made up my mind that yet now it's becoming even more realistic. And I started looking for accommodations, because the general advice that I received was I need to go out to Philippines and build a name out there and spend 6 months out there myself, play 3-on-3s, train with different trainers, go to scrimmages. So yeah, to summarize, Philippines was an absolutely amazing trip. I did everything I possibly could to try to get my name out and try to build as much connections as possible. So coming back to London, I was on top of the world. But the issue I was now facing was I didn't have a team. So I didn't have a Division 2 team. I was practicing with Barking Abbey for a bit, but they had some alumni coming back. Coach liked me, but it would have been a thing where I would have had to like really fight for that starting point guard position, or even maybe that backup position. So couldn't go there. Westminster Warriors, I know a few people there, but Coach Mo, he didn't want to call me back. I kept calling him, didn't want to call me back. Barnet, couldn't go Barnet. I messaged Prince aired me on Instagram. London United, is it London Elite? Shout out to Dre, he managed to get me into a practice. I've gone to the practice, absolutely stunk up the place, just off the fact that going Philippines, I wasn't able to scrimmage for too long. I probably scrimmaged about once, so I was a little bit out of shape. So it was just horrible. I wasn't able to like pick up my opponent full court the entire practice. Dead legs, wasn't able to hit threes, so it was quite tough. And yeah, naturally so, London Elite, they never got back to me. So I'm at a point now where it's like I haven't got a particular Division 2 team that wants me. I haven't tried out for every single one, but it was just like, it was very negative coming back from Philippines, being on a high, and then it's like, now I've got to look for a Division 2 team. So it was quite tough. And saying all of that, I actually had a doctor's appointment, basically like a little checkup, and this was in early September. So I've gone to this checkup, and we've done the test results. We've done tests and stuff like that, a couple of tests. I did like the big test where you have like an X-ray. I forgot the name, but it's like it's a proper scan. It's like MRI. Yeah, you go into like that tube. Did the scan. The last time I did that scan was in about 2019, so it was very serious. ended up getting those results, and thankfully, thank the Lord, nothing has progressed or got even worse. It's pretty much stayed the same. And that basically gave me confidence in like continuing to pursue a professional basketball career. I actually was about to leave, but I thought, let me ask the doctor this question. And I asked her, and I said, I feel capped to how fit I can be as a basketball player from a cardiac output, from a standpoint of that I tire more quicker. Is it because I have a heart condition? And she immediately said yes, because you have an issue with your pump function. So at that moment, it was kind of like a realization for me. And I knew straight away that this dream was over. Like, there's absolutely no way I'm going to be able to become a pro now, because not that I'm not capable, more so in the sense of I'm capped to how fit I could be. Imagine in the future, I was to go to a trial and the coaches were to say, like, how dare you come to this trial, you're not even in shape. It's not that I'm not in shape, it's in comparison to other people that are there and the actual pro team, they're in a different level of shape, and I can't reach that. And truth be told, I felt like this the entire season playing basketball for Panthers, and I even felt it when I was in Philippines and I was doing some workouts, and I was saying to myself, like, why does this feel so tough? Even me being in the best shape of my life mid-season towards the playoffs for Panthers, I still felt like I was tiring out a lot more quicker than others, and I was training way more than them. I definitely believe that it is because of my heart. Because I remember when I didn't have these issues before, when I was younger. So I basically come to the realization at that point that, yeah, this dream just wasn't going to be possible. Now, for me, at that moment, because I'd been there before, I was able to take it. And I kid you not, I was waiting 1 hour before that appointment with a doctor, and I saw 4 or 5 people with wheelchairs in a wheelchair. I don't know, God placed me in a specific seat where I had to like move my legs like 5 different times to maybe get it in my head that life could be worse. Like, even though this has been my dream since I was 12 years old, and this is all I've ever wanted to do, and this is all that I know, like, life could be worse. Like, even though this has been taken away from me, like, you see what's happening in other places on earth, and I need to remain grateful, because personally, I don't know how I'd feel if I ended up in a wheelchair. So I was just like reminding myself, like, be grateful for what you have right now, even though this is getting taken away from you. But at the same time, it was incredibly frustrating, because I felt like I had done everything in my power the whole year in terms of developing as a basketball player, trying to get stronger in the gym, the amount of sacrifices that I made before I even decided to let's pursue this journey. I had to sit down with my mum and my sister and tell them, listen, I'm not going to be able to help out with the bills as much. I've had to sacrifice earning a low amount of money, because you got to dedicate time to practice and games and stuff like that. So I sacrificed a lot for this dream, chasing it the past year, like re-chasing it after taking a break for 5 years. So yeah, it was very, very mentally draining. And even coming back from Philippines to London, coming back from such a high, yet again I felt like the world was crashing down on me. So thankfully, yet again, I had a few friends I was able to call, and they were able to support me in a time where they was needed. But yeah, so that basically concludes like my story. I tried to keep it as short as possible and not go into depth, so I hope the video is not too long. It leads me into my next point. So what's next for me? I'm not 100% sure, truth be told. I just know one thing's for certain. I'm not going to be boxed in to one thing anymore. So before it was just basketball. Now I'm going to be starting a YouTube. I'm also a basketball coach right now. I want to get back into bodybuilding as I've lost so much weight from the amount of running and basketball. The one-on-one scene, one-on-one basketball around the world is becoming very, very big, and that's all I've known as a kid growing up, playing one-on-one after workout. So, and I'm enjoying it, and I've seen a bit of success with that. So yeah, I'd say, yeah, I'm not boxed into one thing. I'm going to be doing a lot of different things. But yeah, overall, yeah, basketball, at the end of the day, it's taught me a lot. It's like it's turned me into a man. It's provided me with like great discipline, and looking back at like the year I've had, like I've had a great year. Like despite it being taken away from me, I've met some absolutely amazing people. One of them is actually filming the camera right now. Shout out to Jeremiah. I met him through basketball. Like I had some great success with the one-on-one scene in this country, winning 2 seasons at ISO Hoops. I had a successful season at Panthers despite not playing 4 years. But yeah, like I said, I met some amazing people. I made some amazing memories, and the kid inside me kind of like came back. So overall, I don't like regret the past year at all. I don't regret like trying to pursue this contract, and at the end of the day, I can live with I tried. Like a lot of people, they don't try in this life, they just quit. They see a hurdle. With me having a heart condition, knowing that I could drop dead at any moment, I said, you know what, I'm still going to chase this dream, because I firmly believe that I would have got to where I wanted to get to. I think I was challenged athletically, but I don't see why I would have not been able to make it, even if it was at a low level professionally for basketball. Why have I made this YouTube? I've made this YouTube because essentially before I wanted to basically like leave a diary for myself. I don't like writing in a diary, I'd rather like watch it. So I looked at it like, this is just going to be a diary for me, this is a bit of fun. But after going through a lot of like the trials and tribulations that I've been through, I realised that with this I can now maybe like inspire others. Like if I coach a lot of young people, so if they see this, they could look at it like, I can't take basketball for granted. Furthermore, I just feel like when I was going through my situation, I wanted to type up people with a heart condition and people that might play sports or stories, and I just couldn't find anything. I felt like it doesn't really get spoken about, and a lot of people be dealing with this, they just don't speak up. There's no videos, you don't really see many athletes speak about this, or they don't speak like in depth about it. So I just want to be someone where if like a little kid or a young man or someone older than me felt like they needed some advice or they wanted to ask me a question, that I could probably be there for them, whether that's through this video or if they wanted to ask me on Instagram or YouTube or leave a comment. So my main purpose in life is just to try and inspire others. My main purpose in life is to try and inspire others and help as many people as I can. If that's inspiring through continuing to play basketball in the one-on-one scene, or for fun, or through coaching, then, or even through YouTube, then so be it. So that's pretty much the reason why I've started this YouTube, and I hope you guys can learn something from this video. But yeah, I hope I wasn't rambling on for too long. But yeah, we got some big things coming for this YouTube channel, most definitely. So yeah, that's James Estella signing out, and shout out to Jeremiah as well for coming down to film this in my house. I wasn't speaking too loud because it's like 8 AM on a Saturday and everybody's asleep right now, so I apologise if it's not loud enough. Right. Yeah, we're good, bro. So basically on the right here is that the aspirations of what I'm trying to achieve. At the top obviously is God, family, helping out Philippines. Essentially before, the goal was to play for Philippines, and also shout out to Simon, I was trying to become a pro. The goal is to continue to win ISO Hoops, as you see. Continue to be with my woman right here. This is just me, I'm just trying to dunk. YouTube, trying to grow the YouTube. Nike, God willing, one day I can work with them. On the left, there's a lot. I had a lot more pictures, so I need to get them. So if you're missing here, don't take offense to it.
Yeah.
And then this was a contract that I made a year ago in September, as you can see.
Nah, you're a real basketballer, huh?